Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Honestly, probably too much. I mean, it's kind of, well, you're from here. You're on the city now, and here, between the two, it is. We ended up chipping up all our tiles off our floor at the firehouse and it was awful. But they wanted to charge us $1 a tile. Chief Green went and rented a chipper. But guys were, police don't have to do this, and we shouldn't have to do this. And I said, call me old school. I said, I'm not asking you to get a hernia, but I said, you guys need to make do you work for the fire station, or is this your firehouse? If it's my house, I'm doing it. I said, just go sit down. I said, it'll take me a couple shifts, I'll do it. Well, then they all get up and the other shift, we're the good shift. I mean, we came in the next.
I mean, I know it varies days, what should.
It's every third day. It rotates. So Monday, Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Monday, and just 3-week cycle.
No trouble, knowing where you're supposed to be.
No, I mean, you get used to it. But my wife, after 17 years, still gets confused.
I bet.
Oh, my God. Awesome. Yes, sir.
Good morning. We'll begin. I'd like to have a volunteer to honor a veteran by giving the pledge. Do we have a veteran that would like to? Bill?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our prayer today will be from our county administrator, Josh Messmer.
Lord, we just thank you for an opportunity to gather this morning to do the work of the people of this county. We thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve, and we just pray for wisdom for the decisions that are made. We also pray, Lord, as we come to the end of a year, that you be with people who had hardship over this last year, whether it be from COVID or any other number of things. And we pray that 2022 would be a better year for them. And we just pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Josh. I welcome you all to the last meeting of 2021. Seems like this is our third meeting this month, so we've been well acquainted. Welcome to guests. Welcome to those who have business with the county. And welcome to the table. And welcome back from in one piece and no plaster, Commissioner Collier.
Well, thank you. And I will give you guys a heads up. I watched your meeting via YouTube.
Uh-oh.
One of 5. So we did have 4 people out there that's keeping tabs on us. Just giving you a heads up.
Well, for you other 4 that are out there today, where's the camera?
Yes, you're
Glad
always
to have
welcome.
You. And you saw very much that you were missed.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Glad to have
I
you
did
return.
see where you passed some of the more difficult topics. You tabled those, so.
Yeah, we waited on you.
Saved them for you.
You saved them, yes. Thank you.
We have first order of business, and I don't see Keenan, but it's just basically kind of things that we looked at last time. A couple of items concerning the EMS, that he's gone over the standard operating guidelines that we looked at last time. I think, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, Keenan's off.
Oh, that's right, he's on vacation.
Ben is supposed to be here. He's probably on a run if he's not here.
Okay,
They're going through all their SOGs. Now that there's some new leadership, they want to revamp them. They'll probably add some, may get rid of some. This is the start of a process. I think there's only 4 in your packet today. They all seem straightforward as I read through them. One of them I think you may have even approved earlier in this year, but I don't know if it was when Keenan was here. And so he's got them back on the agenda for your review. If you have any questions,
Okay.
feel free to table them. There's nothing urgent, but if you're comfortable with them, then I think they would certainly appreciate getting them formally approved.
Thank you. Gentlemen, do you have any questions about the SOGs from Keenan? And I'll entertain a motion then.
Brian Collier makes the motion that we allow the adoption of the updated EMS SOGs.
Second.
It's been made and seconded that we approve and update the updated SOGs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is our annual appointments. We made a few last week, it was last week. We have some more to attend to as soon as I find my list. There they are. These are for folks that are going to be, their term is over, and we have several that are annual. I've made a couple phone calls to check with folks, but I wanted to check with you folks and, or check with the board here, and as you look through it, see if you have any, I guess you'd say comments, questions, and so forth. Let me give you what I've done so far, and then see if you have any problem with that. And then we'll see what other additions that you might want to either add or we need to address. And we can do this at our first meeting in January as well, so I don't expect everything to be done tonight or this morning. On the animal disease coordinator, I have a call into Amy Falkenberger. She's had that position several years. She hasn't had an opportunity. Must be a lot of lambing going on, so she's hasn't called me back yet. I need to talk about in the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have an appointment of Jerry McGrath, who's been in there before, and I have a call into him, but I haven't heard anything. Health, does not the Board of Health make their own recommendations? Is that the way that works? We have 2 appointments there. And I was thinking that board made kind of... Thank you. Okay, we have a letter here from the Board of Health. I'll read the first line of it. The Board of Health has 2 appointees whose terms expire December 31st. They are Diana Catt and Dr. Gary Midla. Both board members voted unanimously at their October meeting to request that you reappoint both. They have consented to serve another term. Attached is a certification of appointment for each, should you decide to reappoint. Well, I'll go ahead and read the rest. I think it would be appropriate. If it is not your intention to reappoint these candidates, please be advised that in order to fulfill state requirements, the nominees must have professional knowledge in public health, be a U.S. citizen and a resident of Morgan County. At least one of the appointees must be a Democrat or something other than a Republican. That leaves it pretty wide open, doesn't it?
This county.
And this is signed by Dr. Roderick of our Morgan County Health Officer.
I'll make the motion that we accept their recommendation to reappoint for another term.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Dr. Diane Catt and Dr. Garrett Midla to the Board of Health. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0, and we'll have this in the signature. Thank you. I also have a call in to, I'm not sure on the Morgan County Library. I'm kind of going through this. I'm not sure I've gone in the right order. But on the Morgan County Library, I need to call Krista. Oh, these things just magically emerge. Thank you. Just lovely. Dear Mr. Adams, this is from Krista. I have a call into her, and I didn't realize she'd sent a letter. County appoints 2 members of the Morgan County Public Library at the end of 21. One of the current members, Ms. Deborah Hendrickson, will have completed 4 terms, my goodness, bless her heart, which is the maximum allowed by law. The commissioners must select a new appointee to replace Ms. Hendrickson beginning January 22nd. Board members are appointed for a 4-year term. We should confer about the appointment, select new member to the board, then complete an appointment section in the form that's and return to the library. So I guess I don't see any suggestions. It looks like it's up to us to kind of find I did have a call into her. If you know somebody that would be interested, and Josh, excuse me for interrupting here on your on this issue, but did we have anything on the website? I think we had 4 people that wanted appointments, or so far have suggested they'd like to. I'd like to have a list of those and what they were seeking, and that way we might be able to make some more decisions. And hopefully one of them would be a library, and we need to kind of talk to them and find out, okay? So we'll have to leave, we'll have to replace Mrs. Hendrickson and thank her for 4 terms of service. That's 16 years on the library board. That's a long time, a lot of meetings. Go ahead.
On the website, if we could I know that we have a place where you can apply to serve as a board member and express your interest and your background and whatnot, but it'd be neat if we could red flag and say the commissioners are looking for a point and then list a point that we're, just to see if anybody would give us a name.
I think that'd be very appropriate.
Instead of us going out and always looking, somebody may come looking for us.
I agree. And Keith, could you help us out there a little bit and say, be sure and check the website, because there's several appointees that might be, you have the opportunity. Not everybody is reading the webpage, but I think that would be helpful. I don't want to make, I want the people to know.
Maybe we could do a story on our webpage.
Do what?
Do a story on our webpage to help get the flow of information going.
You're right.
A lot of times I still feel government is a black box. Everybody knows where the box is, but no one knows what goes on inside the black box.
That would be helpful. It gives you, that would be a wonderful opportunity for us to kind of showcase the new webpage too, because I think it's a lot more interactive, and that's what we're looking for. And keeping up to date too is a very key element in the new webpage. I think is excellent. Billy, go ahead.
We do have 4 Debs making copies of those.
Those people that
4 different people that have expressed interest.
I know 2 of them for sure was on the library, I know.
I was thinking one of them actually said the library board. I think Mr. Cox did.
2 of them that didn't.
So that's where Deb went? Yeah. All right.
And then I was thinking that Keith could do a story on Mr. Baston, because he's a character.
That's quite all right.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, identical twins. Poor mom.
Oh, and humor. Thank you. And thanks, Deb, for getting those for us. I'm going to return this because we're obviously going to look at that later on. Other appointments that as you're going through there, if you, your thoughts on doing all the appointments, unless we have a few we can do today? Let's go there. Kenny, go ahead.
I did talk to Fred Roberts with the Morgan County Planning Commission. Fred's up this year. He's more than willing to do another year for us, he said. Thought I would just let you know that. I did talk to Howard McCormick. Howard's on the Alcoholic Beverage Board. He's willing to give it one more year. He is getting ready to retire from South Central Indiana RMC and have a little more time, but Howard said he would do one more as well. I did talk to Linda Bryant, Jim Stroud for the Tax Board of Appeals. Both of them are the right level certification to stay on that board and would be willing to do one more year as well. I left a couple messages and not heard back from a couple other people that I did talk to, but.
Would you I'll entertain a motion for those folks, because it looks like there's no reason that we shouldn't reappoint them.
Kenny Hill makes a motion to reappoint Fred Roberts to the Morgan County Planning Commission, as well as Howard McCormick to the Alcoholic Beverage Board, and Linda Bryant and Jan Stroud to the Tax Board of Appeals for 2022.
Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on those four appointees. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. I do have an appointment too for the Monroe Township Fire District. I talked to Wagner, and Shane Alexander, who is our appointee, is interested in retaining and serving on that board, and Mike thought that would be a good idea. So I would entertain a motion, or I'll make a motion that we reappoint Shane Alexander to the Monroe Township Fire District Board. Motion made and seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Appoint Shane Alexander to the Monroe Township Fire Board. There is an appointment on that I don't think we filled last year, and it's probably need to check into it if they still make an appointment to it. Where it says the Indianapolis Water Company Advisory Board, I guess that's Advisory Board. Mr. Kramer is deceased, and we didn't appoint anybody, so I think that's an open position. It's obviously an open position, so I don't even know if the board exists, to be quite blunt. So let me check that one out, and then we'll deal with that in January.
Can I interrupt for a minute? We're jumping a little bit, and I'm trying to keep up with you two veterans here. So,
Yeah.
Back up on the very first page, is Bill up? No, Bill is not up. So only Fred was up on that, but Bill was up on Board of Zoning Appeals.
No, Jerry McGrath is only
Yeah, Jerry McGrath.
Okay.
a planning commission appointee.
So they have to, okay, I find that, okay, I'm following you now. And then I'm just trying to look at all the 21s on here to make sure that we're not, so when we go out to look for people, we don't overlook.
I will contact Jerry McGrath.
I did leave him a message as well.
Oh, you've already contacted him?
I
Okay.
left him a message. I ain't heard back from him.
Okay. Well, I've just got a note on my list here to call him. So we'll double time him and see what happens.
Yep.
All right?
Did you guys update our veteran service officer with Lindsay?
Yes.
Last week?
We did
Okay.
last
Last
I
week,
believe we
okay.
did.
So
Yes.
that's good.
And her office is going to be moving over to the courthouse. So we need to make that an announcement when we get that all pulled together. There was a couple that I think, well, it leaves, you can see, there's not too many left, actually.
No, we're doing great.
I think the The only one I had questions about that we probably would want to reappoint was, and I've talked to Dan Elliott about that, on the redevelopment commission. One of the appointees, Ralph Foley, wants to step aside. Daniel and Carol, I think, would like to continue. And that's a yearly appointment. Daniel's the chairman and Carol is the vice chairman. And there are two appointees. Daniel has some ideas on a reappointment, or not a reappointment, but who might be a good replacement for Ralph on that board. So I think it'd be good. I will go ahead and entertain a motion. We go ahead and appoint Daniel Elliott and Carol Snyder as our two appointments out of the three for the redevelopment commission.
I'll second. Have a question? Sorry.
Well, you have the non-voting school board member.
Oh, Jake.
Take out-
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to check with Jake, and I forgot, it's not highlighted here, so I will check with Jake. I imagine he does, but I'll leave, so I'll put that in the minutes. I'll check with Jake and check with Daniel and see if he has a suggestion, or Daniel and Carol both, see if they have a suggestion that somebody that would be, and they had a couple names, but I want to confirm those before we go ahead, and we can do that in January. So let's take care of Daniel and Carol, and then we can go ahead and look at the other two positions in our January meeting sometime. I don't know if we'll have a
Which will
chance
be
to do
Monday.
that. I know, we might not be able to get it done by then, but we'll give her a shot.
Right.
So I'll do those first two, and then we'll look at the other two on Monday. So I'll make the motion for a move that we appoint Daniel and Carol to that.
I'll second.
All right, and all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
And then motion passes 3-0. And then we'll check with Jake and Ralph, the replacement for Ralph. The Conventioners Bureau, Kenny, did you get a chance to talk to?
I did talk to Jamie already, and she's fine. As far as the other one, I made a couple of calls and haven't heard back yet, so we'll wait and see on that one.
You want to do Jamie and then just wait and see what we do with Joe?
I'd make a motion, we reappoint Jamie Thompson to the Convention Visitor Tourism Commission.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded on the Jamie Thompson to the Convention and Tourism Commission. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Getting pretty close to the nubbin. Do you see anything else there we need to address right now? So we know what our chores are for our meeting on Monday. I think there's a few things a couple appointments we need to look at, and I'll hear back from those people that have already been contacted. So we'll see what happens Monday. Well, you getting ready to throw something, or you're on your feet?
Which one?
Negotiating. Okay. Got to keep an eye on you. All right. All right, any other, got a conference here.
Huh?
You want on there, right? We're just gonna,
We can research that for Monday.
no, we're looking at the Economic Development Board, Mr. Adams.
Okay. And we got some things
We'll
we
deal with it Monday.
deal with it Monday. All right, thank you, sir. That's on the what board?
County Economic Development Board.
Gotcha. All right, thank you. Okay. Any other questions on the appointments that we're Proceeding through. On the agenda, which is some ordinances on the personnel policy that have, personnel policy handbook on paid time off. Let me get that up so we can make sure I've got the right place.
This is the second reading of this ordinance. Our sheriff's deputies are going to 12-hour shifts, mostly 12-hour shifts. They'll work 1 week with 12 hours. The next week will be, 1 week with 3 12-hour shifts. The next week will be 3 12-hour shifts plus an 8. And so we were trying to figure out how we could compensate them correctly for their PTO, and came up with a formula of 75% 12 hours and 25% 8 hours to make that fair and equitable. The sheriff and the jail commander have also looked at that policy and felt that it was fair. So this is the second reading to bring it before the Board of Commissioners. And they will be going to those new shifts starting January 1st.
Okay.
Several of them their hire date is January 1st, so we did want to go ahead and get this in place for them when they get their new PTO amounts. This was also brought before the commissioners on the last time, plus it was also brought to the council, and the council also passed.
Yeah, I was, they've already passed this in the council, correct?
Correct.
Both of them.
Yes.
You want to do, what's your choice here, gentlemen?
I'd do both of them.
Go ahead and approve both.
Comfortable with Brian is. Kenny Hill makes a motion that we pass the amendment on the personnel policy handbook for the paid time off, as well as the unpaid leave.
Second.
Made and seconded to approve the changes in the salary ordinance to reflect paid time off and leave, correct? Got that squared away? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, DeRee. Good old salary ordinance. Item, Jim, you want to say anything about the petition to vacate the alley? Sure. Sure, Jim.
Either one, I think it mostly speaks for itself. We, from the last time, if not the last couple times, I don't recall, corrected a couple things largely surrounding, we got a third legal description a little after the first two, and so we needed to make some conforming edits. I think that, I don't know that I have anything else to add unless somebody has any questions.
Yeah, just I'll comment on the reason for the public. You know, as part of the BOT process and some of the work we want to do, we're petitioning the city of Martinsville to close or vacate some of the alleyways as well as Mulberry Street. And before we submit anything formal, we wanted this body to approve the documents that will be sent. And so there's all the stuff required. There's an affidavit that says we noticed people. There's the list of people that will be noticed. There's an ordinance for the city of Martinsville to contemplate. All these documents are part of this process.
Thank you, Jim, Josh. Everybody clear on the intent and the plan? Entertain a motion. If you have questions about it. No questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion that we go ahead and pass the ordinance to vacate, or move to the county council, or city council, to vacate the public right-of-way with Mulberry Street as well as half of the alley between us and Dewey's Flowers.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the notice to be sent to the city of Martinsville for the public hearing. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Get that sucker cooking. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance establishing the commissioner. This is done through our redistricting, and it's just how we go ahead and proceed. The ordinance establishing commissioner and council districts. We've been through that, and we've explained it a couple times. Did we pass that on the first reading last time? This is first time.
No, we passed one.
Yeah, I thought we did. I'm just trying to put myself together.
Just did one reading on it. I thought we did.
I thought we did. Oh, we voted the table, just,
I just swore we
No,
did.
you did, because you thought all three commissioners should be present.
oh, yeah, that was
Yes.
the reason. So we tabled this, and this is basically coming off the table. Do we have to take a motion to take something off the table? I was thinking about that for some reason when I woke up today. I realized we tabled some stuff, and I thought, does it take a motion to take it off the table? And I guess it doesn't. I was gonna check Roberts and see what that person said, didn't get to it. Well, we'll just say it's off the table. We have these two that we did table. These are left, these are the final, I guess you'd say, votes on the establishment of the commissioner districts. And finally got rid of Clay Township. I'm so glad to hear that, aren't you, Bill? No.
I did give my spiel on that, sir.
You did give your spiel. And Bill, I look forward to a phone call and a ride around the county. I always enjoy what you have to share.
I wish I could say the same.
You what?
Wish I could say the same. My mom always taught me to stay away from trouble.
It's entertaining, I will tell you that.
It's something.
Thank you, Bill.
Door, Mr. Bill. I just want to go on record. I know I did last time, and I just want a clarification. District 2 is getting ready to take leaps and bounds. Keith, I know in the newspaper it said the districts get equal funding. They never have for quite a while. District 2 always got 36%. District 1 got 33%. District 3 got 30%. The newspaper had that all districts were equal funded. Just keep in mind, 46% of the roads in District 2, and we're getting ready to take 2 townships in. That's my major concern. So I just wanted to go on record again, but I wanted to make sure the newspaper got that right, if you would, please.
And Donna and I are going on record to keep equal funding.
That'll be all right. Actually, I think I will go on record to say that the days of being road commissioners, we're modernizing our highway. We used to be called road commissioners, and that was one of our chief responsibilities. Not that it's not a responsibility now, but the manner in how we handle roads is being revamped by our highway department so that we can do more, or I guess you'd say, instead of looking over our back and looking and seeing who's getting what, we're going to be able to deal with the county as a whole, and which is kind of what most counties do nowadays. So yes, your District 2 is going to have a lot more roads, but it has the population that's equal, and that's what we had to go with because of the statute.
Yep.
And but we are cognizant of the fact that there's a lot more roads there, and we're going to find ways to manage the funding for the roads in a different way besides looking over and saying, well, who's getting what and who's trying to campaign to get their road taken care of and nobody else. So it's going to be done, I guess you'd say, correctly by having pacer ratings. We're using a GIS, we're using technology to find out what the conditions of the road are, where they are. I guess that kind of covers it, basically, doesn't it? Grant, or
there's things to it, but yeah, no, I mean, we're heading in the right direction, and we're definitely gonna put, forth, consideration of, the additional, roads in that county, so.
yeah, I think the whole concept is dealing with the county as a whole and not district road-wise. And I don't know how that's kind of explained. Right. Exactly. Yeah, I used to. A previous commissioner on District 2 was always kind of complaining about the funding. I said, well, you got a lot of roads, but you don't have anybody driving on them. And that didn't fly real well, but it's kind of the way it sometimes is. Although I found out later on, and I didn't tell him, that sometimes it's good to have traffic on a road. It's kind of like flexing your muscles, you might say. So I never did tell him that. But now I don't have to worry about it. I'll just say, look, we'll find the condition of the road where it needs it, we'll take care of it. And the folks can call and we'll tell them the story. And we probably get less phone calls. You'll have more, but we usually call you after we call them, so it doesn't make any difference. The phone call is just, it's the way it goes. Bill, no, you don't get anything in Clay Township. That does look bad. But you can blame me for it, okay? Well, we need to blame the state. Well, there's a lot of moving parts right now with the state and our roads. That's not all done yet. Well, there's right, you can tell them how to do it. Okay. On the table, we have the ordinance for the commissioner and council district. Did we vote on that yet, or are we just jabbering? All right, let's go ahead and vote. Take a motion.
Go ahead, Kenny. Brian Kyer makes the motion that we adopt the ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of Morgan County establishing commissioner and county council districts.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to establish the commissioner and council districts. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. We also have establishing precinct boundaries. I will just add to the ordinance here that precincts, and they can change yearly if we need to, but we have established, I think, a really good plan. I say that because I watched it happen. Josh and Stephanie Elliott and myself and Vicki Kivett, but worked with Tom Mager of Banning Engineering, and I was totally, it was a different picture than we did back in 2010. New ordinances, and we changed around. I think it reflects both the statutes and the need for the folks in the county. So I will just simply entertain a motion.
Kenny Howe makes a motion we pass the ordinance establishing the precincts of Morgan County.
Motion.
Second.
Been made and seconded that we establish the precincts for Morgan County. And I think Josh, especially for the foresight to get Banning Engineering involved, and the process was think the state's real happy with us too. I don't know many counties that were as good a shape as we were with getting the material as late as we did to get at the results that we have. So it's had public hearings and everything. It's been some good
I
stuff.
will make one comment, because I did receive some phone calls on this regarding the removal of some of the precincts.
Right.
And so I'm gonna say this out loud so that I am clear in my understanding. One, the committee's looked at that, they've discussed that, and two, we don't have to wait 10 years to reestablish precincts.
Exactly.
We can do that as needed. Therefore, we're adopting as this committee sees fit. We've studied it, and if something comes up afterwards that counters something that we may not have looked at in the study, we can change it. So I just want to address some of the citizens' concerns that felt that we should not be removing any precincts, and we've addressed that and we've studied that.
Thank you for that comment, and I would also entertain another, or not entertain, I'll make another comment about you're right, it can be done next year if we see any problems, but I think the other thing that the changes have reflected is making them, first of all, statutorily correct. But the other thing that was a concern was, what if I'm already a precinct person, a precinct chairman for whatever party it might be? As you know, it's probably a Republican Party. What happens to my position if I don't have a precinct, or I'm in with somebody else? That is statutorily corrected by the fact that they remain in office as that position until the election comes up. So they're still, we don't remove anybody. The precinct changes, and then they change. So there'll be some adjustments that'll be made there, but there's still, if there's and about the only thing a precinct committeeman does, well, they used to take care of all the election polling places, and that's done away with. Right now, it's basically the real heavy duty is in a caucus, and they'll still be participating in the caucus till the precinct chairmen are squared away with the next election.
Thank you.
I want to make sure everybody understands that those people will still be precinct people. All right, so we have a ordinance. Did we get a motion on that to approve it?
Yes, you did.
And did we vote on it? I'm sorry, I've got two precincts. Okay, we've got a motion and a second to establish the precincts of Morgan County. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Don, can I add?
Yes.
Since we tabled this at the last meeting, and it's a time-sensitive issue, I would like clarification in the minutes that we're taking this as the second and final reading.
On the precincts,
Both these
Both of
ordinances.
them.
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we waive the second reading for the establishment of commissioner and council districts and the establishing of precinct boundaries.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded that we make this
Second and final.
omit the second reading, and that we make this, it's not needed. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Now, excuse me while I go through all the material here to get to where I need to go, because this was all the identification stuff that we have to send to the state concerning the all right. Next item on the agenda is the Foxcliff Traffic Enforcement Agreement. There's actually two parts to that. One is a contractual agreement, and one is an ordinance. I don't think, and then we discussed this at the last meeting, you weren't there, but this is kind of a continuation of what's been the policy with the county and the Foxcliff. I guess it's a homeowners association, the state.
South.
Foxcliff South, correct, right. Thank you. Yep. Thanks for correcting that. So, do you have any questions about the ordinance on the traffic regulations first? Let's go ahead and take care of the that side of it. Jim, do you have any questions about that ordinance?
I don't believe so, unless anybody else does.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on the ordinance.
Al makes a motion, we adopt the additional traffic regulations on private roads as required by Foxcliff to State South Homeowners Association, as well as the contractual exhibit for Morgan County Sheriff's Department to enforce the traffic regulations violations within Foxcliff Estate South Homeowners Association as Exhibit B.
Okay, so we'll just do 2 and 1 here, right?
Second?
Motion's been made to establish the ordinance and with the contractual agreement that is involved in that ordinance. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we need to waive that? I think it would be a good idea to waive.
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we waive the second reading.
Second, sent.
The motion's been made and seconded to waive the second reading, or the second passage. So all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Yes, I won't go
passes, so
speeding through Foxcliff
motion
now.
passes on first reading. Next item is buffer zones. I will precede this with just a few comments. We're proceeding, this is something that we have discussed, and I think we need to perhaps do a little discussion here further. We have letters and correspondence from the planning director and her committee of the planning committee asking the commissioners to evaluate and consider revoking the extraterritorial jurisdiction that was granted. I think that says, kind of the first sentence there really says it all. The county commissioners to evaluate and consider revoking. I'd like to evaluate and consider revoking, but I want to have some discussion on how we go about evaluating and considering that particular act. So, gentlemen, what would you like to comment on?
Well, I just know that part of that is making sure that we have the capabilities of taking that two-mile buffer zone back in to do the checks and plan commission go up and do the permitting, and I think we do, but I definitely am in favor of getting this ball rolling so that we can cover our bases and check off the checklist to address removing the buffer zones.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'm just going along with Brian. I think we need to do our due diligence on some other things first, but I'm definitely in favor of it just because over all the years I've been in county government, it's always, well, they can tell me what to do, but I can't vote for them, and it's not constitutional, and I've heard that for years and years, and I understand where they're coming from. So I don't have as much problem working towards that away. I just know that we have some due diligence that we need to work with, as well as communicating with city and towns to making sure that they're on board with what, and I know they're probably not all gonna be on board, but at least try to give them the courtesy and the respect, trying to work with them if we can.
And I'm comfortable now that we've did our UDO and we've updated all our stuff, but I would challenge and charge the entities that don't want to see that to get us a liaison so that we can make contact, so that when something comes up that they might be right on the line, but it's in the county, that we get the decision, but it's right on their city or town line, that they have representation that can come before the board. And I think it's their responsibility to come to us and say, I mean, we're not going to contact the whole, it'll be advertised, but, you know, if whether that be the mayor gets the letter, or the town council president gets a letter, or a designation of that board says we want a letter sent to our clerk. They need to tell us that. I mean, I want to make sure that we're communicating. And the reason why I state this is I foresee this county starting to have some significant growth. And I think it's gonna be growth that we've not witnessed, being the last of the donut counties to experience this. So I'm praying that the lines of communication go both ways and that it flows really, really efficiently, so everybody's in the know.
I think, oh, go ahead.
And I agree with Brian there. I think we need to make sure that we're even going a little bit more, whether we just add them as a checkpoint in the planning and zoning process, or actually ask them to be on a tech committee if it's in their old buffer area, to let them participate. I don't have a bit of problem. I appreciate Monrovia, all three of their council members coming over and letting us know their concern. I know when we took over Perrigan, we took over Brooklyn voluntarily. They both worked with us. We would call them and let them know applications coming before us, and they appreciated that. So I think the least we can do is make them a point of contact whenever you do plating or zoning or rezone, that they're one of the contact agencies that must be submitted. But I would think we'd maybe even go one step farther and invite them to the table on anything that comes before them in the old jurisdictional area. Be a goodwill gesture.
I think, I'm sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add something, and this is really for the benefit of Keith and the paper, but there's been some conversation from some of the municipalities that they're concerned about losing their voice, and I agree that there is a mechanism for them to still have a voice. But in the present, there is often a lack of communication in areas that are our lands today. And we do get stuck with drainage issues. We do get stuck with road issues. So we have a real issue, not a theoretical issue. And so I think we'll be happy to communicate, but right now we do have a problem we want to resolve. And I think from an economic development perspective, we desire density. The rural areas are not going to be the dense areas. We want to cluster people around municipalities, and they have a mechanism to take those over. They can provide services to people. They can ask for voluntary annexation. They can extend their borders. We're for that, but the areas that are within our borders, I think we want to exhibit a little bit more authority over. So that's what I've heard from you all, and I just want to make sure that was communicated.
Yep. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, I think there's really two concerns that, well, there's three things I'd like to say. First of all, I find out that most counties, well, I'm going to use Hendricks County as an example. Hendricks County has no buffer zones, has 5 fairly equally sized and economically viable communities, 5 towns, and no buffer zone. So what that leads me to understand is that there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of working together. It has to happen. It has happened there. Those that are kind of concerned about what we're going to do maybe don't need to see the example of where it does work quite well. Is when you have good county government and you have good city government and you collaborate for the benefit of all. That's what we're doing. Kenny's point was probably the most important to me, is because in a for zone, and the final decision on whatever happens currently is not held by anybody that I can vote for. And that's why we fought the British over that issue, and I don't want to have to fight my neighbors over it. So I think collaboration, working together is where we need to be. But I want to make sure everybody understands how it's going to proceed. And so this isn't a strong arm. This is a cooperation work, and that's where we're going. So we'll work out the bugs and the details and the concerns.
Have a formal motion to proceed with, I mean, we're all in agreement. What's that?
You can table the decision to act on the thing, any decision that would be affecting buffer
Well, before
zones.
I table it, I'm going to make a formal motion that we begin the process to evaluate and consider the revoking of extraterritorial jurisdiction AKA buffer zones.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made to proceed to, would you restate that so the paper,
Yeah.
you get it, Kenny? Or Keith?
That we evaluate and get the consideration for revoking the extraterritorial jurisdiction, also known as buffer zones.
We've got a motion made and seconded. Any more discussion on it? All, take the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for the motion, and thank you for the conversation. And we'll be seeing this process. We don't put a time limit on it. We want it done right.
Absolutely.
Right, and then we'll make our final call on what the decision's gonna be. All right. We have other business. Any other comment on the buffer zone? Other business concerns a transfer letter. They've, pull those up here, hang on a second. We have some transfers that are on our table for various things. Dan, do you want to comment on any of those? Do you have any comments on the transfer letters?
Pretty self-explanatory, but I mean,
You have account balances to do those
yes.
transfers.
Councilman, in my first year on the commissioner, I went over these and I talked to Deb about these, and basically it's something that's been going on for a lot longer than I've been involved in government for 25 years. It's just balancing the checkbook at the end of the year. And therefore, I would make the motion that we approve the transfers as presented in front of the commissioners this morning.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, any comment, questions? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
0, thank you. We have an application next, if I can find it here. Handwritten, I must have jumped it. Bonnie Allman is requesting a use of the county for about 30 people. She will submit an insurance as soon as possible. The date is the 10th of February, is it not? And it's for, I don't see it.
For Morgan County Leadership Academy
Oh,
for Service Day.
Service Day for the Morgan County Leader, oh, there it is. Sorry, requested use, Morgan County Social Service Day. Any questions on that?
Brian Collier makes a motion that we accept the request to use the land with the stipulation that they do submit the insurance, proof of insurance.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for the use of the county courthouse property on February the 10th, 2022. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. I will say that 5 days later, the 15th, I will just comment on this, 5 days later, February 15th, 2022, we will be meeting on the county courthouse in Superior Court 3 with the Bicentennial Committee to begin our 200th birthday party by actually placing a historic marker on the county courthouse that we've already approved that, but that's the dates that it's going to happen.
On February 15th? What
That's a-
time?
I think 10:30 in the morning. I'll have to double check the time. I'll get more information to you right away. But the Bicentennial Committee's working on that, and we've got the plaque supposed to be being made, and the only thing we'd like to do is probably get a post made before we put the plaque up, before the ground gets too hard. But have a little kickoff, a couple of speeches in the Superior Court. That's the date that we actually became 200 years old. I mean, that'll be the date we became 200 years old. It was February 15th.
I'm gonna just go on the record and state that you may be 200 years old on February 15th, but I'm not.
I love your going on the record stuff.
Yeah. That way 100 years from now, they go, that Mr. Adams was 200 years old and president of the council, or of the
remarkable.
commissioners.
All right. We vote to approve the use on the 10th.
Yes.
All right. We had a technical correction on a resolution that we passed, and it's in your hands. There was, the original resolution was authorizing the purchase of real estate, and it was on some bridge property, and it was, the bottom line is that we didn't need all that was on the original resolution, and it's been cleaned up.
The changes in effect are, and it, I think, was caused by emails flying back and forth with Tony and Josh and myself, and the exhibits I had attached to the resolution didn't correspond to the final exhibit, so we deleted the reference to the Exhibit A, Exhibit B on the first page, and just that they're attached. And that was the appraisals of just compensations for those properties. Other than that, I think everything's the same. And I don't think we need any action, that's just.
I just want to bring it to our attention that you've made this correct. Do we need to
I don't think, I think the technical corrections ordinance allows us to make that change. It was FYI, I think you can, but it's, I don't think it's
bring it to our attention that there was a correction made and didn't change the intent, it just changed the procedure, or not procedure, actually, it just changed the wording. Correct. All right, no action needed there. That's where we'll go. Okay, the other item we have on the agenda is the minutes from the December 6th meeting.
The motion that we approve the minutes of the December 6th meeting.
Second.
Made and approved, motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of December 6th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. That concludes the items on the agenda, except for the last one, which is for the good of the county. I will entertain anything from the audience or the board on anything that's happened good in the last week, since we've already done the good of the county.
Do you have something?
I do. You know, this is kind of the last meeting of the year, and for the good of the county, I suppose the most important thing that people, you know, at the end of the year, you're always looking at the past and you're looking at the future. Say that that this has been a very exciting year. And to see the progress, to see the changes, to take care of all the things that are on our table, to see the highways built through our county seat, to see the cooperation on this board, to see, you know, I don't make a list and don't keep, you know, I don't, as a commissioner, and I don't feel like there was any year that was as full of growth and change and positive things. And I think 2022 promises. We've got challenges, but the things we've accomplished and the things that we've accomplished with the, I guess you'd say, the office of that we all serve has been very enjoyable and very worthwhile. So thank you from the board, from my position. Thank you all for the new people that we have in the employment and new people that came along just before I got here. and the newspaper coverages, and of course, Bill. Especially like the changes that are occurring in the highway department and things that are going on out there, Atlas, right? And always my protectors. Thank you all for a very fine year, and I look forward to, wish you all a happy new year. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion is
Which
made.
if you were on the city.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
So they formally adopted Robertson Rule of Order?
Well,